You're listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Review. It's the Online Sports Guys College Football Podcast featuring us, the Online Sports Guys. I'm going to go through this list in the order that we are stacked here on my little Zoom window.
Yeah, but your window could be different than ours, so the order could be different. It could
Very
be
sure it is, but we're going by my eyesight because
I do what I want.
I started talking first.
I don't have squares.
And it's up to us to interrupt.
I don't have squares. I have rectangles.
There you go.
Above me in the view, Brother Marty. Below me, Brother Wilkie. Below Brother Wilkie, Brother John. We are the Online Sports Guys College Football
And Paul
team.
Lind in the center square.
Oh, that's a reference far too old for most of the people that are probably listening to this.
Brother J Dubs on a milk carton somewhere.
Yeah. Use the Google machine, kids, and it's spelled Paul Lynde. There you go.
Yes. We're back to talk about college football as we are officially on the clock as we record this.
Always
less than 1 month out, guys, to the college football season. Before we really kind of get into topics of discussion, how excited are you knowing that roughly, 27 days from the day we record this, we're going to be talking about college football games?
Week 0.
Week 0.
I'm semi-excited. There's no good games. What's our best game we got week 1? Week 0. Sorry, not week 1.
Any game where the underdog from a lower classification beats a Power 5. That's my answer.
Oh, wait, I misspoke. Week 0 is actually considerably less. Your Week 0 matchups on Saturday, August 24th, starting with the first game of the college football season being played in beautiful Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech, Florida State.
That is correct.
Florida State at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech technically the home team in Dublin.
And I hear the Irish are big Jacket fans.
Of course.
Without Notre Dame being there, are they going to show up?
Oh, man, that's just...
They're still going to have Fighting Irish there. It's just going to be in a parking lot.
Man.
After a few Guinnesses, sure.
Hey, I've got a cousin named Danny Green and Patty Mulhern. I'm allowed to make that joke.
Well, I would be too, considering I'm Clan McPherson, so I'm right there with you. But that Saturday in Week 0, you're looking at Florida State, Georgia Tech, and then when that one's over, literally what you've got networks that are not stepping on each other's toes to broadcast college football games in 3 weeks' time. Because after that, it's Montana State and New Mexico. Then at 8 Eastern, it's SMU at Nevada in Reno. And then at 11:59 Eastern time, for those of you that had a rough day with the first 3, Delaware State gets a payday game going up against Hawaii on the Big Island.
This far, I'm not
don't
sure.
Don't discount them.
I don't know if we need to get into the games yet, but I just want to mention that we've got those 4 games, and 5 days later, we've got a whole long list of games, but none of them featuring teams that are ranked preseason.
No, but give me the underdogs that have the chance to, perhaps. Oh, I don't know. Get a good win and give us a good laugh to start the season, because that's what I want. I want you.
Yeah, but after 6-7 months of no college football, we'll take Delaware State and Hawaii.
Damn right we will.
I'll take Delaware State over Hawaii.
Ooh, wow. There is no line.
Bold statement.
There is no line currently in that match. But
I'll have to run a simulation on NCAA football.
There you go.
Weeks away.
I can do that when we're done with this.
There you go. Yeah, run your sims at University Stadium, and then at Clarence T.C. Ching. So that'd be a hoot with Delaware State and Hawaii. I think that'd be a fun one to run your sims on.
We'll talk about that when we get close to kickoff time.
Sims
here in a couple of weeks. Most teams are in the throes of practice at this point. Practice. They call it fall practice, despite the fact that it starts in late July, where it's in most places, 95 to 100 degrees.
Yeah, it was 102 here yesterday in the lovely Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Yay. I'm hoping that your air conditioning worked and that you and the boss stayed inside.
Mostly, yes.
Thank you. Just checking.
But we got a lot to look forward to this year. This year's not going to be like years in the past because right on the surface, the biggest change coming in 2024, we got a whole lot more teams that are going to be eligible to make the college football playoff.
Eligible, yes, but will they make it? That's the larger question.
Well, there are a lot more teams that have an opportunity now. We kind of knew who the big four were going to be most years at most of the last few years. It wasn't.
True, but
The main difference this year from last year is going to be is more teams get screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
true. But we also got teams that have changed leagues, and some look like a fish out of water right now. And I'm still having a hard time putting Cal, Stanford, and SMU in the ACC.
Yeah.
Utah, Arizona State in the Big 12. Colorado, I can because I used to be there.
Yeah, that's the only one of these that really makes logistical sense.
But this is what we've got now. And I had to laugh when Greg Sankey said that the SEC was the true regional conference. And I'm looking over in Texas and Oklahoma are Southwest from the Southwest. So
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of
you're
food
really
do they serve
stretching
at both
there.
of those?
Yeah, Austin, Texas is Southeast.
Well,
Norman, Oklahoma.
it is now.
Well, it's I
welcome
guess
to the middle of the pack. Red
I
River
guess
Shootout.
it's south of I-40 and east of California, if you want to get technical. But that, what else is?
Wait, isn't Cal ACC now?
Oh yeah.
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 But, I mean, that's to me, that's the stunner for me is now that's become reality that these former Pac-12 schools have now moved to the Big Ten, to the ACC, and you got the two stalwarts of the Big 12 now in the SEC. What I found interesting was all the talk of Texas in the SEC and how they're not going to run roughshod through the league anymore. And I think that really put an edge on Texas that we may see come to fruition during the season. And that's just my take on that.
Yeah, but the traditional SEC patty cake games were the in-conference ones, in the Big 12 for them. Now they're going to have they're going to be middle of the pack. They're going to.
I don't know if I would call Texas a middle of the pack team, even in the SEC. You're talking about a team that at least on paper, which is where most at this point of the year is where most teams reside. You're talking about a team on paper that could easily challenge Alabama in the SEC West.
I think you're looking,
but with a longer season.
Yeah, I'm waiting for our SEC preview show before I.
Yeah, they're going to have to play more.
Texas.
They have more competition.
And I think that you're looking at that October 19th game against Georgia first and foremost with Texas. They're going to have home field. They're going to need it. Georgia right now in practically every poll known to mankind is the Ric Flair of the CFP for 2024. To be the man, you got to beat the man, and it's going to be up to Texas at DKR in the middle of October to knock Georgia off.
That's not going to make or break them if they're undefeated at that time. But I'm going to save that for our SEC preview show.
Yeah, the deep tease that Wilkie's already got going here. I see how.
Yeah,
we're going to have Chico's bail bond sponsor our segment on Georgia, though. Who's going to be available, like not just the injury report, but who's out on bail to be able to play.
Apparently, based on the lack of reporting of disciplinary action at the University of Georgia, they're all going to be there. They may have prison records, but they're all going to play.
How dare you say disciplinary actions and SEC in the same breath?
Wow.
I mean, Kirby said it himself after talking about the continuing string of speeding arrests up there in Athens. We'll handle this through our NIL contract agreement and internally, and we don't have to tell you if we're suspending somebody or not.
That's the politest way I've ever heard of finding a player.
And the most polite way ever of basically telling anybody that wants to sniff around for a
story. Forgot to say bless his heart.
Yeah, it's like that literally, I think that Kirby has basically told anybody that wants to pursue these kinds of stories that it's a Nunya story. And that was the polite way of saying it in the most Southern way possible.
Yeah, he had no choice other than to cut ties with Ra Thomas after his second domestic violence arrest.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, even a year and a half after they had a horrible crash related to players trying to race each other, it continues to happen.
Yeah.
That's the mind-blowing part of it.
Well, as we get ready, as Joe gets ready to meet leather, we've got so many different things now in college football. It's the beginning of the new era or new world order, I guess, as we want to put it, in college football. We mentioned the NILs. We've been going through all that. Now we actually come to fruition with a 12-team playoff, and I'm finding it interesting. I'd like to talk about teams we think are going to be in there, but I'm finding, the dynamic of the bowl games becoming less and less of a thing in the Power Four, and the fact that we're going to actually have playoff games on campus sites now, which I think is going to bring a whole interesting dynamic to the college football playoff system that's really kind of under the radar right now that nobody is really kind of paying attention to.
Wow. They're going to be in for a little bit of a shock when it all of a sudden, boom, there it is.
The problem is the teams that would gain the most, like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, the ones that are in the far north that offer a completely different playing experience. A lot of them are not too worried about hosting a first-round game. They're hoping not to.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can't tell me that kid that's lived in Florida his whole life, haven't played anything north of the Mason-Dixon line, goes up there and gets snowed on. They're in for a rough awakening.
Yeah, it's going to become a factor now. I'm a little concerned the fact that some of these games are going to go head to head with NFL playoffs games or NFL games, I should say, because the playoffs won't start yet. But I think that's going to be a new experience for college football. That 5 through 12 games that are going to start in December, to me, it's not going to be equivalent to the first and second round of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, no.
But I think we're going to have some fun matchups in odd places. And again, it's going to be a different dynamic we've never seen in college football.
I'm all for it.
I think that where the 3-point shot is the great equalizer and guard play in the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament. The weather could be a factor. Especially if a cold weather team is hosting a warm weather team in the middle of December when it's 30 or 20 degrees out there and we got some elements.
Or you could have Penn State hosting Michigan in a 5-12.
Yeah, you could have that.
Yeah. Penn State is improving their stadium, but they are not building any new hotels, which makes it the same experience.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. Could you imagine Colorado hosting a first-round playoff game against an SEC team with a blizzard coming through Boulder?
That'd be epic.
Yeah, they got to get to 6. They got to get above 6 wins to do that, though.
Florida. Well, that's what I'm saying. But this is a dynamic that really I haven't seen anywhere as I've been reading through college football on the web. Everybody talks about the teams that they think they're going to be in that, and we can do that here in a minute. But the dynamic of now we're going to be at campus sites in the first round. And then I guess the bowls kind of get in there for the quarters and semis. I think that's going to bring some interesting games. And that's where the upsets will happen.
The first time an SEC team loses in the northern state because of weather, or that they blame it on weather, you're going to see this huge push to all of a sudden they want to have the northern teams play in Indianapolis, or they want them to play in Minnesota in a dome.
The neutral site games.
The neutral site home game in your region.
Oh.
Well, personally, I hope as we probably get this expanded to 16 or whatever, all but the championship game are played on campus sites. Because why, if you're playing a regular season, a 12-game regular season, and you go undefeated, why do you want to host your first playoff game in a neutral site at used to be a major bowl game?
that should be a reward for having a successful season.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, but they don't care about that. They care
I,
about getting more
oh,
seats in it.
yeah, it's about part of it's about placating bowls and money.
They're going to have 5 days of games at Jerry World down the road from me.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And that to me is the charm of the NFL playoffs, is the fact that they're on campus sites or on
Third
home team stadium.
They're where they belong.
Yes, exactly. And the weather's a factor for their outdoor venues. And to me, that's the beauty of the NFL playoffs.
Give me a college ice bowl any day.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You should be rewarded for having that successful season. And even if that means being a higher seeded team, whether you're better or not's a different issue, but that's why you play the game. If you run the table and go 12-0 and are a top 4 team, you should have the opportunity to at least have one game in front of your home fans in the play.
Yeah, think about that for a second. You run the table in a tough conference, and then the third place team in your conference could end up getting the home game.
mm-hmm.
So not only is that like a huge boost, giving your chances a large boost, but that's giving your NIL and everything else on your campus a big boost.
Yeah, financially, it's a boon
That's
to
a
you.
huge payday.
Yeah, it's an extra several $1 million that you wouldn't normally have gotten.
And that's just in park.
Yeah, speaking of teams, who do you guys think will be competing for those top 4 spots, and who are some other teams you guys think might be playoff worthy?
Same as it ever was. I expect no surprises whatsoever.
Georgia, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Did they hand down sanctions yet for Michigan as of this recording?
Keep dreaming, Marty.
I mean,
they've already let leak level 1 and level 2.
I mean, you're looking at Georgia, you're looking at Oregon, you're looking at, Texas, you're looking at an Ohio State,
Alabama.
Kudos to Oregon trying to make themselves Ohio State's rival already.
Hey,
they want to be referred to as, they want Ohio State to get angry and call them the team out west.
see, but I mean, I get that. It's like you want to try to sit there and you're the new kid.
You got to realize Ohio State, Michigan started with a border skirmish over Toledo.
Yeah,
it's part of your upbringing in the area.
there may be a time where Ohio State and Oregon become bitter rivals, but we're not there yet. They haven't even been in the same conference and played conference games against each other once.
Last time we placed, we had a good trophy.
I brought it up in one of my videos for OSG Sports that I can see the Ohio State Oregon becoming maybe equal to Ohio State Michigan, simply because you got old school Big Ten against the 21st century power in Oregon with their marketing, and they've lived up to the hype by getting into the title games. And then again, I was thinking about this morning, Ohio State and Oregon have a little bit of a history, because the very first NCAA men's basketball championship game was between Ohio State and Oregon. And when the college football playoffs started, Ohio State and Oregon played in that. So they do have a history of kind of beginning some of these big events in college athletics. And I can see that blossoming into a intersectional Big Ten rivalry that's really that may be second only to Ohio State, Michigan, or maybe on the same level. Only time will tell, but I think we're seeing a blossoming of a huge intersectional rivalry in the Big Ten.
Marty, what are they going to do?
The thing that makes it different, though, is like the level of craziness of the fans. Like I went to that game, and to get tickets, you could not go through Ohio State because they sold out in less than 60 seconds. The day after Ohio State sold out, I went to Oregon's athletic site and bought them at face.
Yes.
I mean, there's a difference between the level of craziness with the fans. Now, granted, most of Michigan's fans never went to college, let alone went to Michigan for college. They have this, we have this term called Walmart Wolverine.
You can say that about any major university in college football, not
Very
just
true.
that.
Go to Michigan, you'll understand what I'm saying, though.
Here's a hypothetical for you. Ohio State fans seem to revel in the idea of omitting the letter M when it comes to any conversation about Michigan.
Yeah.
if they get that level with Oregon, how can they omit the letter O since they're Ohio State already?
Nobody cares enough about Oregon to do that.
I'm just throwing it out there.
So am I. I'm just like, we'll just have duck roast at tailgates. Instead of deep frying a turkey, we'll be deep frying a duck.
The amount of you're the new kid at school and I don't care that we're seeing here in this show does not surprise me one bit. I'm the new kid at school. I've come in, I've got my tray. I've got my apple, I've got my milk, I've got my, hyper processed pizza square, and you're trying to figure out what table you're supposed to sit at. You make that turn down the corner and you're sitting there and there's that wide open space and you've got all the tables that are laid out to the side. Oregon, to me, they're the one that comes out of the lunch line. They sit there, they see the jocks over in the corner with all of the cheerleaders and like, yeah, I'm going to go sit over there. And then the jocks with all their Letterman jackets and everything, they're like, really? No, you ain't sitting here. It's almost like the pledge scene from Animal House. No, you're going to go sit with Jugdish and Larry and those folks over there. That's
I get that Phil Knight is towards the later part of his life and he's trying to buy a championship before he passes, but we've been doing this shit since the 60s. We've made runs in every
the best
decade.
thing about that Animal House reference, John, is Animal House was actually filmed at the University of Oregon.
Absolutely true.
Oh, my goodness, I forgot that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a point there.
Yeah. So
I thought Faber College was in the East.
Yeah. So, it's literally, I think you've got all these new kids coming in to the lunchroom and they want to sit at the cool kids table. And I think that some of them might be in for a bit of a rude awakening in their first year in their new conference.
So Marty, your Buckeyes won't be playing Oregon. They'll be playing Faber College.
I'm down for that. That is one of the games I'm looking forward to because that's going to be the first real competition. Like nobody has any idea what Michigan's going to be with all the people they left, all the what's the nice way to put it? The overhaul of their scouting department.
No,
their camera department's down a few cameras now.
Yeah, I guess it does mean Ohio State's going to have to play an actual schedule outside of the few.
As an SEC fan, do not talk to me about playing like Division III, Northwest, Southern, Eastern.
Who you talking to? My school doesn't play in the SEC. My school plays in a group of 5 conference.
What conference is that?
The Fun Belt, baby.
Fun Belt.
So you're one of the teams playing in SEC at the end of the year.
No, we play them at the beginning of the year. We have Ole Miss at the beginning.
The week before, dude. Check the schedule the week before the end of the season. It's always that before they play their rival, they play somebody you never heard of, a team that may or may not be available on NCAA football.
Oh boy.
Oh, we could go on all afternoon about this, but we got to go to halftime, guys.
What?
Well, I'm just getting some rolling.
Take a breather here because
Marty gets on a roll and you want to go to commercial.
I do.
Man.
I do.
He's the boss.
Can't be tamed.
But if you want, we can really pick up where we left off. Come back here after about 2 minutes or so during a break time.
Please hold. We'll return after the
after a word from our sponsors.
After a word from our other podcasts. Please like and subscribe.
Over here in the OSG sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with 2 O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports, do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for making it through halftime, folks. You have returned to the second half of the review. In the first half, we talked a whole lot about what you could expect to see heading into the 2024 season.
And we weren't done, and you went to commercial.
I did. Well, if I'd waited until we were done, we probably would still be talking for the next hour and a half.
Hey, you two don't charge us to record yet.
I want to change the topic a little bit, and we can circle back to the stuff we talked about in the first half if we wanted. During the break, I kind of mentioned to the guys, and Marty knew about it already, and that's that some of the bigger schools are starting to allow fans into practice, but charging admission.
Yeah.
Or in the case of Alabama, they're letting the fans in free, but if you want a player autograph, that's going to cost you some money.
Good. Hey, look, it's all about revenue streams and trying to figure out where you can help out your other student athletes and help augment their incomes or however you want to do it. I get it. I cannot wait for the economic study for the feasibility of, okay, well, schools tried this and this worked. Schools tried this and it didn't work. Schools tried this. They thought that they could get it to work to a certain level and it didn't, or something exceeded expectations. I want to know what schools are trying and
this is just stealing from Midnight Madness at all the colleges do.
Well, yeah. What's fascinating to me are some of these college head coaches who are about the most paranoid people on the face of the planet, having to have people around the entire day while they're trying to run a practice.
This is just them getting organized. They're like the big complaint I heard from reporting of Ohio State's practice was they were doing odd splits.
Ew, how?
So you would have you didn't have a first team, second team offense going. You had the left tackle and left guard over on this field. You had the right tackle and right guard over on this field. You had backups at the other ones. They were basically just getting organized of how they're going to run the practice. And then when they close the doors, they do their real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
look, you got dog and pony, you're getting revenue, and then you get
this is NIL for your long snapper, your punters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, check out the punter from Ohio State that's there from Australia. Dude's like 6'7".
As long as I imagine he wants to get paid in U.S. dollars and not Australian dollars.
Yes, 6'7" punter.
He is huge. He was a rugby player.
Yeah.
Huge.
So he's like a guy that's not to be afraid to get into the scrum. I'm always amazed about. I'm always amazed about not only charging admission. I'm okay with that because of the revenue stream thing, but the four of us, for the most part, have been around practice a lot with college football. We've watched tons of it. Been at NFL camps and watched that. And they're probably some of the most boring things to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many practices and training camps I've been to. And after day 5, I'm done. I'm seeing the same thing. Only so many times you can watch a guy go to the water station and drink and do some walkthroughs and even some live hitting. But really the practice part, what we get to see, is really pretty tame and pretty boring. Phil's exactly right. When everybody leaves, they'll do an extra 30 minutes and put the stuff in they're going to put in for the next game. Now, first couple of weeks of practice is just conditioning and getting calloused up for the season. But after that is when the rubber meets the road. And you're probably going to see, if they charge of admission, probably maybe 4 or 5 periods. Is that about it? I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
I know with Ohio State, and I'm trying to think of the other school that was doing almost a mirror image of what Ohio State was. It's just
Nebraska.
the first week. It's just the first week. So it's basically them figuring out how they're organizing their practice, and then you guys can leave.
Yeah.
Now, it is a good chance. Like my nephew Noah, his first game experience going to see Ohio State was going to the spring game, and it's, they charge $5. And, people that otherwise would not go to a stadium get a chance to get in there, see their team, and get a sense of the environment there firsthand. And I'm all for that because, they're, I don't know if anybody tried to go to a game that's not an unheard of college. It's kind of expensive.
Yes. The
outside of our favorite segment.
Yes. Well, and the unheard of college against unknown state, that one's the one where you can get into pretty easily. The other ones that are mainstream, those are the ones that are kind of difficult.
Yeah, and if you got a chance to see Georgia play for $5 or $10, you got a kid that's never been to a college game unless his brother played at a D3 school or something. I'm all for that. Give them a chance to get there. People that don't normally go to a game get to go experience
more than $5 or $10. Nebraska's charging $25.
Okay, that's stupid.
Well, but they're also the only game in town, and so what you're doing is you're going up against supply and demand and availability. I mean, if you went to, oh goodness, I mean, if you went to some place where you weren't the only thing around, if you were, USC, UCLA, something to try and garner interest in a saturated marketplace, $25 to me would be a bit much. But Lincoln, you're the only thing in town, unless you're going to do our NAIA and D3s and things like that, and maybe you do want to charge a little bit. But no, it's the only game in town, so it's supply and demand. You're going to charge at 25. Big markets, you're going to charge a lot less because you want to get folks in the door to try to drive revenue. So I get that.
And plus, Nebraska, they've just had consecutive sellout streaks since the mid '60s, and I know they totally renovated Memorial Stadium there in Lincoln and expanded the seating capacity. So that's a big reason why they were selling tickets like that. But $25 makes sense in a place like Lincoln, Nebraska, or Fayetteville, Arkansas, or someplace where there's no pro in town. I can see $5 at Southern Cal.
Yeah.
When that vast Coliseum, you probably walk in for free for UCLA.
Yeah, really?
No one goes to their games, or Cal or Stanford come to mind. Man, it's hard to sell college football in California, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any place like that where there's so much going on and so much to do, it's not quite as an easy sell as it is in some of the more less densely populated areas.
I mean, if you went to Brookings, or if you went to Bozeman, or if you went to Missoula and you wanted to charge 25,
I've been to Bozeman.
I could understand that, because once again, you've got people who are insane, and they will go and they will help out the NIL by doing something like that because they feel it's a part of their community. I mean, you go to Fargo, you go to Brookings, you go to Missoula, you go to Bozeman. They'll pay that $25 because they believe that's an investment in their community. And the same thing, I'm sure, with Lincoln, and they're insane. But yeah, you've got to find a way to get in the door in those larger markets and things like that. So yeah, if you see USC or UCLA, I mean, Marty, Youngstown. If Youngstown wants to charge $10 or $15 for a practice, are folks going?
No.
Okay.
Now, if Youngstown
if
pays
it's
them
$10,
$10 or $15,
if it's $10 and you get a T-shirt, yes, they'll do it. But
tangible item.
It's a depressed area, dude. I mean, I left there a quarter century ago. That's scary to say that, but they went from market 99 to, I don't even know what they are now, maybe 125. It's, they just don't have the numbers. They're struggling to get people to pay that much for a regular season game.
Well, here's the flip side of that example. Do you think in Atlanta that Georgia Tech could charge $25-$30 a head to get it?
Good Lord,
God,
no.
Would
They
anybody
can't get that for the regular season.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They can for the Georgia game.
Yeah. From people that drove down
or Clemson
down the road.
For the Georgia game,
The Clemson game too.
from the
against
Georgia
Clemson.
fans, not the Georgia Tech fans.
Right.
Both of them.
Another example, Miami.
Mm-mm.
I mean, Miami's an area where there's so much going on. There's always something to do.
And
It
they're an hour
depends
from
on what kind of
campus.
Instagram promo you have going along with this.
Yeah. No.
Are there going to be photo opportunities that they can be taken advantage of to post?
But Miami's playing about what, an hour from campus?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
And traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
Try driving out of San Diego State's parking lot when it's full.
Oh boy, man. Yeah. Go to
I just did that
go to
for rugby.
go to
It was not
go
fun.
to- yeah. Going to Snapdragon. I mean, that's
It's a nice place. They actually have some unique seats there where, like in the middle of the stadium, they took out a couple seats and they just put chairs that you could move. So, like my wife and I went and watched rugby. We actually didn't have people like this on us, that fighting for an armrest. They actually spread it out a little bit. Good stadium. I gotta give them credit.
Concept.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, hey,
And
I'll pay a little bit extra to not have somebody right up on top of me.
correct. Yeah, I mean, what they've done at Snapdragon is that they've created an environment where you're not it's not too small for some sports, and for the market that's there for college football and for other sports, it should be about right. I mean, the attendance figures
The other
should
thing
be
they
about
did that was nice that I haven't seen in another stadium is they still overcharge you for a drink, but you can go refill it.
right. Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
Or-
that seems to be a thing lately.
Come to MBS and go to the dollar menu, and you got it all laid out. You're good to go.
Hey, you can do that at State Farm Arena too. When they have events there, you can go, you get your soda or whatever, and it's unlimited returns.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed is their lines weren't as long because they weren't getting tied up with people doing that. Like they were putting more people through overall by doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
And to be honest, I bought more food because I didn't have to spend $30 to quench my thirst.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are side benefits to that for sure. Guys, we kind of got away in a little bit from what we
I'm
were
shocked
talking
that
about.
we got away from topic.
What?
Yes, is why I'm bringing us back around.
Oh, boy.
We started talking about teams that have a potential
no
12
fun
play.
to- like the no.
And outside of the usual suspects,
Nope.
but
Nope.
there aren't 12 usual suspects, John.
Well, I mean, all right. So let's run through.
First off, do you consider the Big 12 a power conference anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
All
I
right.
think they're going to have the best season of all the Power Four conferences. To be honest with you, I really
Think it's
like the
because it's
makeup
more
of that
even than
league.
it's ever been.
It's more
with
even
the
than it's ever
influx of
been.
talent?
Yeah, I think that's part
love
of
the
it.
addition of Arizona and Utah into the field. I don't know what Arizona State's going to do. Colorado's going to bring some PR, but Utah coming into the league is solid. And there's this argument about whether with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, if those four collectively make up for Texas and Oklahoma. I don't think so, but they're damn close. And I really think that those additions and how competitive Arizona is now, Utah has been for years. And if Colorado can get up to speed, I think you got the makings of a damn good football league. And the thing that people need to realize about the Big 12 is you got a lot of football centric programs that are there, especially the Texas schools. Marty, you know about TCU in Houston. They'll spend more money in Texas Tech especially. They'll spend everything they have to for their football programs to be up to speed and to get the recruiting that they need to do, the NIL money and the.
If they don't start out hot this year, though, they're running in the big danger of just being considered Conference USA with better marketing.
Well, but I mean, aren't you looking at Kansas and K-State before you look at some of the other teams that are drifting into the Big 12 as better teams?
Just like a whole lot of they were so top heavy in the conference, you just didn't. You never really thought about the other teams down here, and living in a Big 12 country, so to speak, or now it's SEC country, I guess.
And to Marty's point, yeah, arguably you could say that the conference doesn't have that one mega powerhouse team like Texas or Oklahoma.
They don't have a bully.
So
right
they're the conference of good is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of extremely good programs though in that league.
Yeah, and I think they're going to win some games that, especially in the playoff level, that they're not supposed to win. So I mean, I love what Brenton Yomark is doing in that league. And you're talking about bullies. I know realignment really isn't a subject we're talking about, but that's probably the only landing spot that Florida State and Clemson can hope for as they're trying to sue themselves out of the ACC.
Which isn't happening anytime soon.
And the fact that Commissioner Yormark is looking at other revenue streams, I mean, major revenue streams like selling the naming rights of the conference, putting patches on the uniforms or painting logos on the field, I think is a huge deal for the Big 12. It'll put them on par with the Big 10 and the SEC.
Well,
and they're thinking outside the box.
And I think that you have to do that.
Yeah.
If you're not that top tier, if you're not the 4-letter network conference or the 3-letter network conference, you've got to find a way to try and make up those differences with the TV revenue. And if you want to do it with a sponsor patch, if you want to do it with,
they have to do that or they're in trouble as a conference.
Absolutely. You've got to find
realistically, they're in the same boat that the ACC is.
That's my point.
And they're the first ones to try.
The main difference is their teams don't hate them.
Yeah, and they're the first conference of that group that's not named SEC or Big Ten.
And you name two conferences. One is trying to help their members by bringing money in, and the other one is, this thing you signed. Hiding it from.
Does it exist?
Does it actually exist?
Yeah, I mean, so as much as we give the Big 12 a lot of grief for doing what they're doing, when we mention,
I respect it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like because on the surface you sit there and you look at it as like, oh my God, mayhem could be the new head of VAR for college football in that conference. You've got to find ways to make up the financial differences, and they're the ones that are focusing on these outside the box ideas, where the ACC is more focused on itself and the infighting and trying to survive and trying to sue members to stay. And they're more focused on the off the field stuff, and they're more focused on the revenue and the on the field stuff. And that's why I think that the Big 12 is exceeding the ACC right now, just because they're thinking outside the box, Marty.
They're spending money to help their conference, not like spending money against their conference.
Yeah.
And think about the competitiveness of the Big 12. Yeah, we know the SEC and Big 10, they've got some top-heavy teams. But the Big 12 from 1 to 16.
It's more wide open for sure.
It's more wide open, probably more competitive. They're going to get more eyeballs as far as highlights and people. Hey, did you see that crazy Oklahoma State Utah game? I mean, if they build that resume, they're going to put themselves away from the ACC as that number 3 team. And then if they get some key wins in the playoff, whoever qualifies and get some key wins and make a nice run, maybe even a run into the title game, then you've got to really look over toward the Big 12 and think, okay, they're doing everything they have to do financially to be viable with the Big 10 and the SEC. And now they're starting to show it on the playing field. And, oh, by the way, their games are so much more fun to watch. Well, they're going to become like the cool, shiny toy out there that everybody wants to take a peek at. And maybe that'll help on their TV revenue. Who knows? But, right now, I sense what we're trying to get to with the Big 12 is they don't have that bully they used to have with Oklahoma and Texas. And I kind of want to see how the Big 12 is without that bully and how it goes forward, because I do think if Florida State and Clemson are suing themselves out of the ACC, this is the landing spot for them. May not be ideal, but I think they would fit in pretty well in that league, bring it some kind of bulliness, I guess, to that league. and even up its profile, and it would pretty much quickly mean the demise of the ACC, as that's when Carolina, I'm sure, is going to want to jump ship, and I know the SEC covets North Carolina right now. So who knows?
Well, the other thing is, the appeal of joining the Big 12 is they don't have that bully and it's open.
Yeah, you'd be the big dog coming in the
You
door.
could be there. It could be there for the taking, and it could become your conference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how much juice an Oklahoma State Clemson rivalry would be, but I'd watch it. I think it'd be a fun game to watch.
Oh, the post game sound bites, are going to be good. I just
don't want to be on the sidelines in Stillwater anymore because it's scary there. You have no room.
None.
I still want to know. I haven't heard anything about the Pac-12 championship for the year.
No, the Tupac
because it doesn't exist.
The Tupac would be those two schools.
Have they changed the name officially?
I'm willing to bet that Washington State and Oregon State are playing in it.
Yeah, I think
so.
But
I mean, have they changed the name of the conference yet?
No.
The teams have left. They haven't changed the name.
Faded into the woodwork.
So there is still a Pac-12 championship.
But is there?
Nobody's answered that.
No, it is not on a schedule. Let's put it that way. But that does not mean that it could not happen at a Marie Callender's restaurant in Midland, Oregon, in late November,
or like the Arena Football Championship in a mall.
Yes, absolutely true.
Because if you do look at the power, if you do look at I say the power, you do look at Division I conferences, they don't list Oregon State or Washington State anywhere.
Well, I believe whenever they play this season, I'm sure there's T-shirts printed.
Oh, those are the T-shirts to have.
If you're into collecting those,
if they have a Pac-12 championship, I say we drive out to it and do live from there.
That'd be awesome.
Because it only lists 3 teams as independents, the usual 3: UMass, Notre Dame, and UConn.
Yeah, and I don't quite think that they're going to make the trip out to be the Eastern Division of the Tupac.
No.
Hey, if the ACC needs replacements for Florida State and Clemson, UMass, UConn.
Oh,
helps their basketball profile.
Could you imagine J.L. Mora in the ACC with UConn?
That's if he lasts another couple seasons.
Well, no, I mean he'll last because what are they going to do? I mean, look, they had Randy Edsall was not winning games, and they stuck with Randy Edsall. So I think that they're okay with J.L. Mora, especially when they go to the pre-Christmas season bowl games. When they're in that first wave of bowl games, they're happy.
Now, Randy Edsall got him into a BCS bowl.
That's Randy Edsall 1.0, not
no.
Randy.
Like, do they have like a team colored and painted up Edsall vehicle like on campus? Is like
that would have been cool
as a mascot.
They had done that. That would have been cool.
Yeah, you guys, we were talking about Washington State. I did find their schedule, and it's interesting because they play largely a Mountain West schedule.
Yeah, they've
Oregon State.
Yeah, they've blended into the Mountain West schedule this year. Yes, that is true.
It's kind of a little bit like Notre Dame with the ACC.
Yes, and so the Washington State Oregon State Tupac Championship. That's the fun one. That's the one that everybody needs to go to.
I'm interested to see what it's going to happen with Notre Dame when NBC starts making more money with the Big Ten than they are with Notre Dame. What's the future of that contract?
Until or unless
Big Ten expansion.
They've told the Big Ten no too many times. They're going to get told where to go when they try coming.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Notre Dame suddenly becomes a 1-10 or 1-11 team for a couple of years, they'll always draw.
Oh, and by the way, that Washington State at Oregon State game at Reeser in Corvallis, 3:30 Eastern time, or 3:30. I'm guessing 3:30 local. 3:30 local time, nationally shown on the CW network. You want to talk Supernatural? Oh, sorry, that's UPN. I was trying to think of what's the
No, they went to CW.
Okay,
they went to CW, yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
with the ACC.
Yeah,
and NWA Wrestling.
Yes, absolutely true. So the CW, the home of the NWA, and our buddy Aaron Stevens gets Washington State at Oregon State on November 23rd. Book it now.
If they have him as color commentary, or at least a sideline reporter, I'm in.
It'd probably be Natalia Markova. She would be your sideline reporter. That would be the way to go.
He would add spice to that game.
Who?
Natalia Markova, she, I believe, is currently the NWA women's champion since Camille has now moved over to AEW. So,
following Thunder Rosa.
Yes.
Now, I know who Thunder Rosa is.
Yes, you do, because you got to see Thunder Rosa in the NWA. And so, but no, I think that right now the current women's champion is Natalia Markova, and so I think that's how that would end up. But that's just me. See, we got him off topic. We actually got him off topic in both blocks.
Yes, because we can't go through everything on our first one before the season starts.
No,
we've got to space some stuff out.
Yes, that is.
Yes. That being said, we have talked for almost an hour, guys. What do you say we wrap things up this week?
Okay.
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 I could go for another hour.
As you wish.
Yeah. Yes. We could easily do that, but I'm told that people don't pay attention to podcasts for more than about an hour or so. I could be wrong.
Depending on your commute.
Yes, exactly. Yes. In a major market commute, that would be the way to go.
Yeah. I don't exactly categorize myself as somebody who is up on the hipness and marketability of such things, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, neither do I.
Anyway, for Brother Wilkie, Brother John, and Brother Marty, I am Brother Phil. We are the Online Sports Guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great week. We will be back again soon to talk more college football.
Please like and subscribe.